something like that.
Okay.
And her sister lived in Ottumwa, Iowa, and so she wanted to go down and visit her. So we hitchhiked all the way to Ottumwa, Iowa.
Okay, hold a sec. Where is Ottumwa, Iowa?
It doesn't matter.
It's in the eastern part.
It's southeast Iowa.
Southeast, quite a ways.
Quite a ways.
Yeah, and so we didn't have any money to stay in a rooming house or anything else. So we'd open a car door and sleep at the car lots in a car that was unlocked.
Wow.
Nice.
We were like hippies, I guess. And not any change of clothes. We'd carry our clothes in a paper bag. We each had a paper bag, and that would be probably a couple of pair of panties and shorts and maybe a top or two. That's all we had in a paper bag.
And a toothbrush.
Never had a suit. I don't even think I had a toothbrush.
Oh.
It was terrible. So we go to Ottumwa, Iowa, and I liked the little town. So her sister said we could stay there, but we didn't like her boyfriend because he was redhead. And ever since then, I've never liked a redheaded guy. He was mean. We were afraid of the guy. And they lived upstairs on the one flat and a big back porch. And he had caught this red fox, which was against the law, and he had it in a cage on the back porch. And it was a big, big porch area. And I felt sorry for the damn thing. And after a week being in there, I opened the door and let the fox out and opened the back door so it could get away. And when he came home, he wanted to know who in the hell did it. And he was really mad. So then I was afraid of him. So I decided the next day I'm leaving because I don't trust this guy either. So Vivian stayed there, and I hitchhiked back to Sioux Falls.
By yourself? Ugh.
By myself. And everybody that gave you rides so far, you thanked them, and everybody was nice about it. So I didn't get any trouble there. And I went to Avis's, my cousin in Sioux Falls. She was at her aunt and uncle staying there. And I said, let me stay here for tonight. And she says, no, you can't. Because they don't like you. Because you run away. You might run away with their house. They don't touch you. Hadn't been stealing anything. But she said I couldn't stay there. So I went. I did have a couple of bucks. Because I did have a job in Ottumwa, Iowa. Working for some old Greek guy. We sold hot dogs and beer and that joint.
So you stayed there for a while?
Yeah, I was there at least a month.
Oh.
Yeah, and I kind of liked that. So I had a few dollars, and I went down. They call it the Jackrabbit lines. Here we call it the Greyhound today, the bus. Mm-hmm. And I think it was $1.50, something like that. And I took the bus and went to Brookings. And that's when I went down to my sister's, which was a block away. And I more or less lived with her from then on.
Until you went to the train?
Until I went to school and got to Sioux Falls and did it the
right
right way.
And did cleaning and stuff.
In between stuff.
I thought there was some story where you were with somebody driving and went through a plate glass window in a drugstore.
Oh, I did that too.
Just kind of brush
There's
over
a
that.
plate.
Just happens a lot.
I was about 16. Avis and I were together all the time. My first cousin. Mm-hmm. About 16. This happened all in a few years. And we were drinking with the boys.
I wouldn't let you stay at my house either.
we never stole anything from anybody. That's one thing, I didn't steal anything. So we were with these guys, and they said, let's go to Mitchell. We're drinking like... Mitchell's, South Dakota, is a corn palace. Did you ever hear of that one?
Oh, yeah, we've been there.
It's just a small town. So I wanted to drive. I was half-assed driving then. I could drive a little bit. So I wanted to drive. So he let me drive the car when we got in town in Mitchell. And when we were going to park here, and I drove up on the sidewalk. I was probably half loaded, I guess, and hit the corner of the building, and the window pane just hung there with the whole side out here. And oh my God. The glass didn't come down. Nobody got hurt, but the owner come running out. And so the guys had to pay for it. They said they'd pay for it. They called the police and got the guys' names and all that other stuff. And we went on and had a good time that night at the party. And finally got home early.
And they didn't ask you to pay for it, huh?
No.
They were gentlemen back then. Let the woman wreck your car and smash a plate glass window,
Yeah.
and they'll pay for it.
Yeah.
What
Well,
gentleman?
It was the whole big, you can imagine the whole big wood frame. It came out of the frame. That took a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't know how, and I was working in a beer joint in Brookings at the time.
What was the drinking
Me,
age back then?
I'm-
Was there a drinking age?
18.
But you were like 16.
I was 16.
Yeah.
But I was working in a beer joint, draft beer, me pulling beer and waiting, just serving beer and whatever in a place. And I worked there for a long time. But I got paid pretty good there.
Anybody get fresh with you?
No, honest to get, the man and wife owned it. No, they didn't get fresh with me. A lot of them maybe tried, but they didn't get very far.
Well, I didn't know if you hit anybody
Yeah.
or gave them a
If
what
you're
to.
serving beer,
I was serving
there's
beer.
got to be guys that are going to get fresh. That's
Yeah,
They
they'll
go
give you-
hand in hand.
They'll give you a pat in the butt once in a while and leave you a quarter or whatever.
You figured a pat's worth a quarter, huh?
Yeah. I enjoyed working at that place. So what else was so horrible?
Well, there wasn't. Wasn't there like trying to break into your dormitory or your boarding house?
Oh my God.
Now, is this the dormitory while you're doing the training and stuff?
When we were studying in Sioux Falls for the 3 months, you're not supposed to,
Stu, you want another one?
you're supposed to be in by 10:30 every night. And none of us had plans to go anywhere. So the fire escape was just outside of our room that we had. So we decided, Dottie and Betty, the three of us, were the bad ones really. We pull the fire escape down and go out that way and drop this next one and come back in the same way. We did that at least 3-4 different times, and we never got caught. And that was dangerous because that fire escape was quite a ways up there. And you're coming home, you could fall, you could do anything.
And you're snockered, right?
Yeah,
When you come home?
yeah.
Okay.
So I was pretty adventurous, let's put it that way.
Well, so didn't you get caught?
The way I got caught was when I went home, not by her, no. Not by the housekeeper of the house. I had gone back to Brookings for the weekend, another weekend, and I knew this woman that I worked for, and I was telling her the story where we were, and I told her about sneaking down the fire escape. It happens that was her mother, that was the housekeeper, and I didn't know it. So she called Mama, and then the three of us were called into her little office, and you don't have to tell me the story, I know it, because my daughter already told us. And the three of us were speechless. So she said, I'm going to make sure you girls are in your room. I'm going to come in and check your beds every night. And then you'll be kicked out of school, and you won't be going where you think you're going. But that was great at the college when we stayed up there. You go over there and you get free breakfast. And that was the only time I've ever had souffle for breakfast. They'd serve you a big hunk of cheese souffle.
Really? That's a big thing to make.
I guess it was easier to cook for a bunch of people. That and toast, yeah. And that was all free. That was all in the government.
That's good.
Yeah.
Did they buy you clothes? Give you clothes too?
No. No. But board in the room was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
But I was very happy then to leave Sioux Falls and get to California. And that was a long ride on the train. They called it the Challenger, that train at that time. And that big black billowing smoke coming out of there. And you were sat in a coach. It took that train 5 days to go from where we were, Omaha, to the Oakland Mall.
We did the exact reverse. We went from Oakland to Omaha.
Oakland Mall.
To Omaha. Now, of course, we had a sleeper car and all that, but it was too long. It was too long for us.
We read the whole Harry
and
Potter
who?
book.
I remember that.
Us.
Oh, all of you guys.
Going to Omaha instead of flying. And it was more expensive than flying.
And I thought it'd be an adventure, and I got that out of my
We
system.
saw a lot of people mooning the
In the train.
the train
Remember that.
because we
Really?
were going alongside. Was it the Colorado River or
Some
some river?
river,
Well,
yeah.
that's
And the
beautiful.
rafters were going down, and they were mooning the train as we went by, and the kids were shocked.
I was.
Oh my God.
Seriously, Jake.
And we read the entire Harry Potter book on the
Yeah, I remember
on the
reading
train
that.
out loud. I read to the kids.
Well, at least you had a sleeper car.
Yeah.
We were all sitting in coaches.
Oh
Ugh.
man.
And trying to sleep in coaches too. Then.
Oh, that's where you slept, yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
And the food wasn't very good there. They fed us on the train, the army food they called it.
So what'd you do all day on the train? Just gab?
Just look at each other, look out the window and see the trees.
You didn't like sing? There was no one with a ukulele or anything?
No,
Like in Some Like It Hot?
So what was your job at the shipyard?
sheet metal. I worked. It was a huge building. Like you take things into the weld. You'd go at these big machines and you'd cut sheets of metal, and those things I'd never used more than a scissors before. But they taught you that back there. And then you take it into the welder and have them weld the things together. And then you come back and just hand file a lot of it down. But there must have been at least 100 people in that shop doing things. Then I went to work on the outside because that was a ship repair. Hunters Point is ship repair. And the ships would come in there that had been torpedoed, which they call a fish. They got a fish. So I got to go on the submarines, even down below. And then on the aircraft carriers, I was on all kinds of ships. Then I worked outside in they called the shack, where you'd, if you needed a certain tool, I'd check them through the tool room and get a check, then you return them back that way. And I was a runner. If somebody wanted something in the office, I'd run. It was a lot to do. Then I worked on the night shift for a while. I didn't like that because that was from 11 to 7. And then you go home and you can't sleep.
Did you get paid extra?
No,
Oh.
no.
They just assigned it to you?
They just had 3 shifts.
Did you ask for it, or did they just say you're working night shift?
No, you can volunteer.
Oh.
It was better if you volunteered. And I think I made, it's just under $7 a day. But then you get the check at the end of the week. And boy, that check looked pretty good. That's all I ever made.
And you got room and board, right?
Yeah, we
So you
did.
got room and board too.
Up at the dormitories.
Yeah.
And the rooms were nice, and the cafeteria they call it, but you just signed for it, and food was free. But then we used to go to Dago Mary's, which was just 2 blocks down from our place. After you halfway got cleaned up after being in the shipyard, and meet all the sailors, and you have drinks, and the owner then would come and pin a corsage on you, and tell the sailors that would be, I don't know how much it was, $1, $1.50. And then after the sailors left and bought us drinks, and of course we were like B-girls, but didn't know it because we didn't get paid for it.
But your drinks were watered down, weren't they?
Oh, I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were. And some of them were just plain water.
Yeah.
Or when the sailors in that table or so would leave, girls would go in the kitchen and take the corsage off, and they would resell them again. And that went on. Maybe somebody bought me a corsage 3 times in the night. But she made the money on it. We did. I guess that was her form of prostitution that way.
Well, didn't she have prostitutes upstairs?
No, not there. At her home over North Beach.
Oh.
That's where she ran that. She had 'em. Dottie and Betty went to her house. She asked Dottie and Betty to be prostitutes. And they told me they went with her. I never saw her house. It was a beautiful big home over in North Beach. And she offered them to work. And they both said no. But then I did start doing waitress work at Dago Mary's. And I did real well. The food was good. I never saw ravioli before in my life. I didn't know what a ravioli was. Can you imagine that?
I can.
Well, there was raviolis was a new thing. It wasn't artichokes and avocados.
I never saw those things before in my life. But the owner would go downstairs and make the raviolis in the bar. It was a beautiful bar. Go down in the kitchen and make fresh raviolis every day. And I watched him make them. And the first few I tasted, I didn't like them when I ate them at first. Now I love them as far as that goes. But, so I wasn't too bad, was I?
No.
I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get jailed and fined and none of that stuff.
So did you stay at the shipyards throughout the war?
For 13 months I was there.
Oh.